on the go.
I have with me Ify Emeka-Onu, a certified diction and English expert, and today we will be talking about the common wrong expressions around us. English is not our first language, and I'd like to know if our mother tongue affects the way we speak English.
Yes, it does.
English is not our first language, and I'd like to know if our mother tongue affects the way we speak English.
Yes, it does. I'll explain in very simple language. Now, the English language has some words that are not contained in our mother tongue.
Okay.
Or some sounds, I meant to say, sounds like and the.
Okay.
Take for instance, like the English language has the sound b.
Okay.
You have the sound in your own mother tongue. So you have names like Bisola, Bimbor, and then in my own mother tongue, I'm trying to remember if we have words that has the sound for the letter B. I'm sure I'm going to remember later on.
Okay.
But for the last two sounds I mentioned, called the teeth sounds in English language, where you have the tip of your tongue in between your teeth. One of the sound is soft, that's the sound. And then the second sound is hard, that's the sound the. In technical, we call it the voice sound and the voiceless sound. But so that will make things very easy. One of the sound is soft, and then the other sound is hard, the. We do not have those sounds in our mother tongue. And so when you have words like faith, we would rather say faith. Is it making sense to you?
Yes.
Aha. When you have words like this, we would rather say this, because we also do not have that sound in our mother tongue.
Okay.
Also, our mother tongue says pronounce all the vowels and consonants and give all of them equal stress.
Okay.
So you have names like Abimbola.
Okay.
So you see, you're pronouncing all the letters and you're giving everything equal stress.
Yeah.
We have names like Ifunanya, that's my own name. You're pronouncing all the vowels and consonants and you're giving all of them equal stress. We have Yakubu. You're pronouncing all the letters and you're giving everything equal stress. But the English language says no. In some words, some letters are silent. For instance, you have a very simple everyday word, come, C-O-M-E. The letter E in that word is silent. You have plumber, P-L-U-M-B-E-R. The letter B in that word
I have never understood why the B must be silent in plumber and comb and bomb.
That's what the English language says. So you see, it gives you rules, but it doesn't follow its rules. And so because a lot of us, we have the mother tongue innate in us, when we pronounce in English words, we use the rule of a mother tongue that says pronounce all the vowels and all the consonants and give all of them equal stress. So the Englishman would rather say Babalola, because he believes that for their own rules, you don't give all the sounds equal stress. So you see why the mother tongue plays a huge role in the way a lot of us speak here in Nigeria.
Okay, so let's look at the major ethnic groups in Nigeria. So the third one in school that we have Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. Come to think about it. Some people call it Igbo, some people call it Igbo, but I may never understand why that is. So let's look at all the ethnic groups and begin to pick those words that each group don't speak well. Okay, so let's come to the southwest where we are. Lagos is in the southwest. Let's look at those words we don't pronounce well.
Okay, something that is very peculiar, I'm afraid I have to use the word peculiar, to a lot of people from the western part of Nigeria is what is called the H factor.
I know that.
So you hear things like, oh, Tosin, this is so awesome, it's very awesome. Wholesome. There's nothing like wholesome.
Yeah. Or I had egg for breakfast. Open the door. Yeah.
And unfortunately, you see professionals, like, when you're giving a speech or they're making a presentation, you get to hear all of the H factors when you're speaking. To show you that this H factor is actually something one shouldn't be proud of. A very popular actress in Nigeria has a comedy show that is focused on the H factor.
Oh,
yes.
interesting.
And you see people actually, when she speaks, people laugh and all of those things. But that's something that one shouldn't be proud of. But she's using it to make money. Now, that's a different case entirely. When it comes to communicating properly using the English language, people from the western part of Nigeria, some of them have what is called the H factor. What do we call the H factor? That's when you add the sound of the letter H where it shouldn't be. A very simple word, open, O-P-E-N. It's pronounced as open and not open. It is not open. And then where you have the sound of the letter H, they delete it.
Okay.
So rather than saying hair, like, a lot of women spend a lot of money buying expensive hairs. And they say, oh, my hair is very expensive.
Okay.
That's wrong. So you cannot be wearing a very expensive hair and then you say your hair or your hair is expensive. No, you can't say that. You definitely cannot say that. And then some of them are also well traveled. When they're going to the airport, they say things like, I'm going to the airport. There's nothing like that. So people from the western part of Nigeria, they have what is called, some of them have what is called the H factor.
So if it could it be because we don't have that letter H in our alphabet?
I agree with you. So you see where the mother tongue is also coming into, because in your mother tongue, you do not have the sound of the letter H. But in my own mother tongue, I come from the eastern part of Nigeria, we have the sound of the letter H. So we have words like Ihoma.
Okay.
Can you hear the sound of the letter H there?
I do.
You have words like Ihu. You also have the sound of the letter H.
Okay.
There.
Okay. So let me ask, is this something you can unlearn? I mean, if I'm over 40 now, and if I've known to aspirate when I pronounce H, I mean, when I'm pronouncing words that shouldn't have H, can I begin to unlearn it?
Yes, it's something that you can unlearn and learn.
Okay.
You can actually learn to remove if you observe that you have the H factor. Now, for some people, they may not even know that they have the H factor. So probably they would need to ask someone who would give them, talk to them truthfully and say, oh yes, when I get to hear you speak, I get to hear you aspirate words when you should not aspirate. And when you should aspirate, you don't aspirate your words. Now, for people from the western part of Nigeria, I like to use words in their local language.
Okay.
Like when you have fish in Yoruba language, it's pronounced as eja.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So you don't say heja. You're not aspirating in that word.
Okay.
So when you also have words in the English language where you should not aspirate, just use a roll of your mother tongue.
Okay.
Now, usually you have words that begin with particular vowel letters and vowel sounds, like the A, E, I, O, U. So you find that a lot of people have difficulties pronouncing words that begin with letter A. Words like apple, they would rather say apple. I've even heard hample before. Do you understand?
Yes, I've heard that too.
Then you have the letter E, your I. It is I and not hi, or Eve and not heave. No, you don't say that. Then you have I as in ice cream and not ice cream. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Then you have the O, you have orange and not orange. You have onion and not onions. You don't say that. Then you have the letter U, you have umbrella and not umbrella. So you should not aspirate when you're pronouncing words that have vowel sounds at all.
Okay, if you know, I've heard this word before too. I've heard playo
instead
of pleasure. Have you heard that too?
Oh yes, I have. And then lest I forget. Now you know, of course, you have exceptions to those rules. Like you have the word honor. Honor begins with letter H.
Yeah,
but it is wrong for you to say honor because letter H in that word is silent.
And that's why you say it's an honor.
Not it's an honor, not a honor.
Okay.
Or the honorable and not the honorable. So that's an exception.
English is so confusing.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a lingua franca in Nigeria, so you must learn to speak rightly.
Absolutely.
Now for player, like you mentioned, no, it is wrong for you to say player. Please take note. If you say player, that's the wrong thing to say. It's very easy. You just say pleasure.
So it's not sure.
No. Yes.
Okay.
That's
what
you say.
We'll need another class to talk about these sounds. So let's go to the Southeast.
Okay.
What are those words or those letters that are difficult for Igbos?
Okay, they have issues with the sound of the letter L.
Okay.
And the sound of the letter R.
South.
Yes.
I've heard the song before. Rada, rada, rada. Instead of lada, lada. And I was wondering, what is she singing?
Saying exactly. So they have issues with that. In fact, there was an experience I had some time ago where a woman was trying to describe a trader to me, and she was saying she wanted to say the woman sells iron rods, and she kept on saying she sells iron rods. I was wondering who sells iron rods. So she wanted to say rods, but she kept on saying lods.
Okay.
Then we also have issues with like the e and the a sound.
Okay.
Rather than saying I want to eat bread and egg, we would say bread and egg.
I see.
Okay. So when you hear someone pronounce bread as bread and egg as egg, then you know that person is from where Ify comes from.
Okay. Ify, we're having a great conversation so far. So let's come to the northern part of Nigeria. What are those sounds that we don't pronounce well?
Okay, some of them have challenges with the sounds of the letter P and the letter F. So you get to hear some of them say feeful rather than saying people.
Yeah.
You get to hear them say, they want to say pencil, they call it pencil, you know.
Yeah.
So you find out that at least the major tribes in Nigeria, we all have our peculiar challenges with the way we pronounce some sounds of the English language. That's not saying that we're not proud of our mother tongue.
Absolutely.
I'm a very proud Igbo lady.
Same here, Yoruba girl to the core. In fact, Ify, the first language I ever spoke in my life was Ekiti. Not English, not Yoruba, it was Ekiti. And I don't think I speak it as well again, but I am still a very proud Ekiti girl. And anywhere I go to, even if I find myself outside of Nigeria, I am still a proud Ekiti girl. But are we now saying that we should start talking like Britons, or we should start speaking like Americans?
No, that's not what we're saying. I recall saying that in Nigeria, our lingua franca is English language.
Absolutely.
Now, I get to hear people say things like borrower, things like liru. You know, when you actually, Now, when you pronounce words like that, because of the environment where we find ourselves, you do not sound natural.
Exactly.
There's nothing wrong in saying bottled water. There's nothing wrong in saying little. There's nothing wrong in saying kettle. We are Nigerians. We have the sound of letter T in our mother tongue. So there's nothing wrong in saying words that have a letter T.
Oh, wow. Okay, Ify, I think we're going to have another conversation about the commonly mispronounced sounds and the wrong expressions that we have around are things that we could generally change about the way we speak. So maybe we should just stop this here now, and I'll be glad to invite you again, and let's talk about all of those things. Have you enjoyed today's episode? If you have, please like this, share with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed yet, do so. If you'd like to see Ify again, please give me a thumbs up.
I look forward to coming back.
Thank you, Ify. Thanks for coming. And I hope you're going to come back, really.
I sure will.
You have to. You have to. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week. Goodbye.
Manners on the go.